Media linked to Yemen's Ansar al-Houthis says that Saudi strikes have targeted 2 locations on the country's Red Sea coast. Earlier, Saudi media reported an attack on a Saudi vessel in the Red Sea. Explosions have been reported in Hodeidah port. Strikes have also been reported on Kamaran Island. It comes a day after the Houthis said that they had targeted 2 Saudi tankers. They said the ships were violating their naval blockade on Saudi ports. We'll bring you more on this breaking news a little later in this bulletin. Iranian media say that 2 people have died in a US missile strike on a liquefied petroleum gas tanker in the Gulf of Oman. The Fars news agency says the attack damaged the vessel's engine room. The US military hasn't committed. Al Jazeera's Mahmoud Abdul Wahid reports from Tehran.
Iranian state media are reporting that the US military has targeted a liquefied petroleum gas vessel in the Sea of Oman, allegedly killing 2 crew members and damaging the engine of the vessel, bringing it to a halt in the Sea of Oman. Now, this comes after Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi had a phone call on Friday with his Omani counterpart, Badr al-Busaidi, discussing maritime security and the safe passage of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. On Friday, also, an Omani diplomatic delegation visited Tehran for talks focusing on mechanisms to arrange safe passage of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iranian officials have been arguing that the safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz is a sovereign right to both Oman and Iran, rejecting any foreign interference, namely from the United States. We understand that the United States earlier this month has imposed a naval blockade on Iranian southern ports, which Iran considers an economic warfare and a violation of the UN Charter and international law. Iranian officials, and namely the foreign ministry, has been reiterating that Iran cannot give in to coercive diplomacy, accusing the United States of practicing what it considers bullying in the region.
Let's get back to the breaking news we told you about a few moments ago in Yemen. Yusuf Mari is in Yemen's capital, Sana'a. He joins us now live. Yemen's Houthi-affiliated media say that Saudi strikes have targeted 2 locations on the country's Red Sea coast. Yusuf, what more do we know?
Well, the Saudi TV just announced that the Saudi military is announcing that they targeted military sites. According to the Ansar Allah Houthis, however, they're saying that the Saudi Arabia targeted the island of Kamaran and targeted also facilities belonging to telecommunication centers, all of which happened in the strategic province of Hodeidah. Now, we know that the island of Kamaran is known for its strategic importance. It is Yemen's largest island, and it's actually very close to Bab al-Mandab, where the ships, the Saudi oil tankers, are being targeted. So whenever you have such a situation, as it has happened before, where Saudi Arabia targeted the province of Hodeidah, targeted the port of Hodeidah, although Saudi Arabia is saying that they did not target the port of Hodeidah and that the port of Hodeidah remains open and fully operational. This was expected. The response from Saudi Arabia was expected by the Ansar Allah Houthi group. They did warn that if Saudi Arabia does attack Yemen, does attack the province of Hodeidah or any province under their control, then there are going to be more strikes targeting not just oil tankers, not just imposing the naval blockade on all Saudi shipping, but also targeting Aramco oil facilities, targeting Saudi airports, Saudi air bases, and Saudi Aramco oil pipelines in Saudi Arabia. So this is the latest that we have right now. There's one report of one woman who was injured in the attack that occurred on the island of Kamaran. Usually whenever these attacks happen, the number of casualties, if there are any, they will be released perhaps later on in a couple of hours or early tomorrow morning.
You say, Yusuf, that this was to be expected. This is only going to ramp up tension, isn't it, if the Ansar al-Houthis are going to strike even more vessels as they've threatened?
Well, there's a number of options, and I think that it's almost the same strategy that was applied and executed when the Ansar Allah Houthis announced the blockade on all Israeli shipping. It started off gradually by just not allowing Israeli-linked ships to cross Bab al-Mandab, but then it escalated to targeting Israeli shipping, whether it was in the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden. They even targeted Israeli-linked vessels in the Indian Ocean. And this is exactly what we might see with the escalation of military activities against Saudi assets, whether it's at sea, whether it's at land, whether they are targeting Saudi Arabia's most precious jewel, the Aramco oil facilities. The main target here, make no mistake about it, is Saudi Arabia's moneymaker, the oil exporting industry. That's 5 million barrels from Saudi Arabia that's being exported on a daily basis. And the Ansar Allah Houthis have taken that asset away from Saudi Arabia. You knew that there was going to be some type of response from Saudi Arabia. A lot of experts were talking about perhaps engaging with the Ansar Allah Houthis in negotiations in Oman. As we know, there is a delegation of Saudi and Ansar Allah officials in Oman. They were supposed to talk, negotiate in order to de-escalate the tensions. Unfortunately, from what we are seeing today, those negotiations are not bearing any fruit, and most likely this is going to result into a sort of back and forth where you have Ansar Allah Houthis targeting Saudi Arabia at sea, but now also targeting them where it's going to hurt. And this is according to the statements issued by the Ansar Allah Houthis. This is according to the leader of the Ansar Allah Houthi, Abdul Malik al-Houthi. And this is also according to many Ansar Allah Houthi officials who basically sent the message that they want the war to escalate. Okay. They want to target more Saudi assets. And it looks like it's not just going to include imposing the blockade. This is going to perhaps lead into a full-scale war between Saudi Arabia and the Yemeni group, just as it happened in from 2015 to 2022. Okay. It looks like history is going to repeat itself unless negotiations can de-escalate the
Yusuf Murray reporting live there from Yemen's capital, Sanaa. Many thanks, Yusuf.